Hey, what's going on, everyone? What's going on? Hope everyone is doing great and everyone's doing fantastic. Your friend Dean here every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone. I'm right here, folks, to help you folks out with job search tips, advice, and strategies, recruitment tips, advice, and strategies. Also, although not too many recruiters, I guess, with any questions on this segment. So in any case, for all the job seekers out there, definitely here to help you folks out. Make sure you hit like, make sure you comment, introduce yourself. Let me know who you are, where you're tuning in from. I don't get what part of the world you're from. I get especially excited when people from other parts of the world tune in, of course. But yeah, I appreciate everyone that tunes in and comments and hits that like button as well, because that helps me spread the good word and spread the advice that I share on my streams. All right, so I appreciate you tuning in. Those of you tuning in for the first time, every week on Wednesdays, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone, I'm right here to share tips, advice, and strategies to help, primarily to help job seekers. I do speak about recruitment topics every now and then, but it's mostly for all you job seekers out there, because I get a lot of messages and questions about job search advice, because I know some of you out there might be experiencing some challenges in job searching, and I just wanted to offer some time out of my schedule, at least every week, where I can help you folks out in your job search. All right. So, and also for those of you tuning in for the first time, make sure you follow me and subscribe to me if you're watching this on, and by the way, shout out to everyone on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter tuning in. I post a ton of content throughout the week, videos, posts, articles. I have a article that I release every Monday as well. So in any case, all of my social links, I'll just drop the link in the whatever you call this thing, the banner. If you want to check me out on any of my other social channels, all my social links are at this website. It's linktr.ee/DK Tech Recruiter, linktr.ee/DK Tech Recruiter. All my social links are there. And make sure you also subscribe. And by the way, it also has the link for my LinkedIn newsletter. So if you want to check that out, every week on Mondays during the afternoon, I release a LinkedIn newsletter, and I talk about a job recruitment topic first, and then the second part of the article is generally dedicated to job search tips and advice. And I also talk about upcoming guests I might have on my live stream, as well as LinkedIn polls you can participate in, and just things going on, right? Things that can be helpful for you folks out there. All right. So again, don't be shy. Feel free to introduce yourself in the comments. Let me know if my audio and video is clear as well. Looks like everything is good. And also today's stream and every week's stream is sponsored by my recruitment company, which is Tech Recruiters 360. So if you're an IT professional anywhere in Canada, or you're an organization anywhere in Canada, you're looking to recruit IT professionals, definitely feel free to send me a direct message or connect with me, follow me, and I'm happy to see if there's any way I can personally assist you. Again, whether you're an IT professional or whether you're a company looking for IT talent and you're experiencing the challenges quite a few companies are facing right now in terms of large level, more competition in the market. And if you're an IT professional, you need assistance, you're looking to move into your next gig in your career here in Canada, definitely make sure you send me a connection request, or send me a direct message, or a LinkedIn email. Don't be shy, and I'll do my best to see if I can assist you. If not now, at some point in the future, right? Today's session is also sponsored by DK Global Talent, which is my digital training course company. If you're a job seeker and your biggest challenge right now is you're applying for jobs, you're applying, and you're not getting responses, in my digital course, which can be completed within 3 hours, and you get lifetime access to it. I teach my 3-step process for using direct messaging, right? Sending direct messaging and direct emails to hiring managers as well as recruiters to get their attention, grab their attention, get their attention, and increase your response rates for the applications that you're applying for. A few times every year, I do this poll where I ask job seekers what is their biggest challenge in their job search, and typically over 70% of you typically respond and say that, hey, Dean, my biggest problem is I'm applying for jobs, I'm not getting any responses. So look, folks, simply applying for a job and waiting for a response, this is where a lot of you are experiencing challenges, right? So if you want more information about my course, feel free to check out this website, dkglobaltalent.com/get responses, dkglobaltalent.com/get responses for more information about my digital course. Again, it's a one-time payment if you are interested in it, and lifetime access. And you can probably complete the course within 3 hours. And I teach you how to use direct messaging in order to increase your responses for the jobs that you're applying for, right? So that being said, today's topic, folks, let's get right into today's topic, where I'm going to be speaking about some job interview tips to help you win. Let's see. We got Mohammed who says it's good. Awesome. Thanks for confirming that, Mohammed. It's always good to know that I haven't been speaking to myself all this time. And, because this one time I was doing a stream and the audio wasn't working. And I was like, 5 minutes in. And the great thing is you folks are so nice because people were still just, still there and tuning into the stream. But just, a couple of people only were, I guess they weren't shy or anything. And they commented, let me know, hey, Dean, we don't hear anything. So it's good to know that that's not happening. All right. So I appreciate that, Mohammed. And feel free to keep the comments coming, folks. If you haven't, by the way, before I get into today's topic, any questions you have about your interviews, right? You're experiencing something at your interviews. There's certain objections or rejections or something or the other you're experiencing in your interviews, and you're not sure how to deal with it. Feel free to drop it in the comments. Try to put as much context as possible, just so I'm better able to deliver a good customized response for you. And also, any questions you have, anything not related to job interviews, anything job search related, or if you're someone who's a hiring manager, you have a recruitment related questions, feel free to put that in the comments as well. Today's, the questions and comments are not necessarily restricted to today's topic only. All right. So just keep that in mind. So that being said, let's get into today's topic, interview tips to help you win. All right. Now, sorry, I had to take a sip of my my lemon water here. So look, folks, interview tips to help you win. Now, there's so many aspects to doing well and performing well in the interviews right now. By all means, what I'm talking about today is not kind of the all-encompassing thing for helping you you win at your interviews. But I'm going to be talking about a few key things that I've noticed people tend to lack in their interviews that results in them not getting the kind of results they're looking for at their interviews, right? So if you're a note taker, you definitely want to be taking notes on today's session. And also, before I get into today's session, make sure you hit like and make sure you comment and make sure you share as well if you're getting value throughout today's session. And what I hope to impart on you is things that are going to help you do well at your interviews, right? So tip number one, folks, is you got to set the groundwork. You got to set the groundwork at the pre-screen, right? The pre-screen is extremely important. Now I was talking to one of my one-on-one coaching clients yesterday, and they were like really excited. And they were like, Dean, I got an interview, so excited about it. Hey, that's great. Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you so much. Blah, blah, blah. And then I asked them, okay, great. I mean, that's great that you got an interview. That's great that you got one scheduled and you're excited about that. Hey, that's all good. But why do they want to interview you? I asked them, why does this organization want to interview you? They're like, oh, well, I guess I did well at the interview, and, I answered all the questions right, and, blah, blah. I talked about this, I talked about that. I said, okay, great. I mean, that's what you're saying, though, right? But did you ask them? Do you know why they specifically want to interview you, right? And this is, by the way, this is a mistake that everyone makes. Like, majority of you out there, you're not truly understanding why the company wants to interview you in the first place. A lot of you are making assumptions. You're like, oh yeah, well, it's probably because of this, probably because of that, probably because they're looking for XYZ and I have XYZ that I bring to the table. And hey, maybe that is the case, right? But you need to set the groundwork, folks, right? When I say set the groundwork at the pre-screen, you need to understand if you have a pre-screen conversation, and the pre-screen conversation is is that initial communication you have. That's typically 15 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe half an hour conversation at tops. It's a quick conversation that helps them decide whether or not they want to call you in for an interview, right? It could be an in-person, could be video, could be another phone interview, but it's a more lengthy conversation. That is the real, technically, that is the real first interview. The pre-screen is more of a kind of a brief overview kind of conversation, right? And this is where you folks need to set the groundwork. You need to understand why are they interested in interviewing you, right? What is their interest in you specifically? They could have interviewed a whole bunch of other people that are business analysts or software developers or software engineers or project managers or whatever it is that you are. They might have interviewed a whole bunch of other people, right? It's not simply because you are a project manager or a software developer or a software engineer or an accountant or a construction worker, whatever it is you are. Something transpired in the conversation between you and them that made them want to see, or made them see you as someone standing out from the rest, from the others that they had a conversation with, right? Because look, out of 10, 15, 20 people they might have that pre-screen with, folks, they only going to invite maybe 4 or 5 people for the actual first interview, that first full hour conversation they want to schedule. And if you don't know why that is, if you don't know what caught their attention about you, then that's kind of a missed opportunity, right? Now, some interviewers will tell you why, but in the majority of the cases, they're not going to say that. They're simply going to get excited about you, and they're going to be like, okay, we want to schedule you in for another interview, and blah blah blah. And you get excited, and you're like, okay, great, yeah, I'm available this time, that time. Okay, great, good, bam, 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 and then you're in there for the first interview. But if you can get an understanding of what exactly caught their attention about you, that's going to put you in a much better position to determine what you want to highlight at that first interview that you're going to be going into. Because if you know what caught their attention, that gives you a clue as to what's important to them, and also, again, what you want to focus on, right, at this first interview. Because you want to focus on not just what excites you about yourself and what projects you've completed that you're most excited about. Of course, that's important, but you want to put the majority of your attention on what caught their attention, because ultimately they're the ones making the hiring decision. They're the ones who are going to be deciding on who to bring in for the second interview or the third interview, and they're the ones who are going to be making the final decision as to, hey, who are we going to move ahead with, right? And the better your understanding of what exactly caught their attention about you, the better able you're going to be to really focus on the real juicy stuff at this interview that you're going in for, right? And the other thing you want to determine at the pre-screen is, what is the problem? What is the problem? What is the problem? What is the set of challenges that they need your help with? Right? A lot of you are not taking the time to actually understand this during the pre-screen. Like, you got to be probing, investigating, asking questions to determine what is the hiring motivation here. Why are they looking to hire right now? And usually the why is connected to some challenge or some problem that they need your assistance with, folks, right? So you got to keep this in mind. We got Ashwin in the house from YouTube. Hey, Ashwin, good to see you as always. Thanks for tuning in. So you have to grasp this understanding, folks, right? So the pre-screen is not just about you creating a great first impression and getting their attention. Yes, of course, that's important, but it's also an opportunity for you to understand what interests them about you. What interests you about the? No, I'm mixing up. I'm mixing up my words here. What interests them about you? And secondly, what are the problems, challenges that they need assistance with? What is the hiring motivation? You have to understand what the hiring motivation is, because that's going to be the real juicy stuff, folks. That's going to help you win at the interview, because now you're going to know exactly what interests them about you and what problems and challenges they need your help with. Because if you understand what problems and challenges they need help with, you're going to know what you want to focus talking about at the interview, right? Because look, especially those of you out there who are at like a senior level in your career, you probably have been involved with, like, if not tens, maybe hundreds of projects, right? And it can be a challenge figuring out, okay, Dean, what should I talk about? What should I not talk about? What aspects of this project should I talk about? What aspects of this project should I leave out? So understanding the hiring motivation, understanding what interests them about you, that's how you're going to kind of narrow it down to, okay, I should focus on this, and this aspect of these projects that I was working on. So you have to determine that. That's going to put you in a much better position to win at the interview, right? So keep this in mind, folks. I see some some comments here. We got Danraj says tools to be learned for automation beginner. Yeah, no idea what you're talking about, bro. Like, be more specific. Maybe I can help you out, but be more specific. What exactly you're asking, right? Because I'm not sure if that's a statement or a question. So just be more specific, folks. All right, that's not just for Danraj. Everyone else out there, when you're asking a question, just be real specific. I'm happy to help you folks out, but be specific, folks. I'm not Sherlock Holmes, so just be really specific. Is it a question? Is it a statement? Just let me know. All right, I'm happy to help you out. So Danraj, feel free to clarify in the comments. I'm happy to help you out with that whatever that is. So going back to today's topic, yeah, set the groundwork at the pre-screen, folks. Right, very very important. Now, second thing is, and this is something so important at the interview, and this kind of relates to understanding the problems, the challenges, and all that stuff. Always, 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 always quantify the problem, right? Always quantify the problem and always quantify the return on investment, the projected return on investment. This is extremely important because that is ultimately the reason why the hiring manager, the hiring team, why they're looking to hire someone in the first place is because they have a problem. They have a set of problems, they have a set of challenges, or they have some kind of projected outcome that they need to achieve or attain. And they need someone with your skills and your expertise to come in and help them in attaining that, right? So you need to always quantify what exactly the problem is. Like when I say quantify, what I mean is you have to have them put a number on what it's costing them or whatever the projected outcome they're desiring, right? So for example, if they have a problem that they've got going on, you should inquire as to what that is costing the team, the department, the company, the organization. You have to quantify the problem, right? And this is going to put you in a much better position to not only justify your salary, but also show them how you can help them out with this problem and this challenge that they're experiencing, right? By talking about the relevant stuff, again, it comes down to the relevant stuff. The better able you're going to be to understand what the problem is, what the challenge is, and quantify that stuff. The better able you're going to be to really tailor a custom, pretty much custom tailor a solution for them, right? At the interview, you can be like, okay, this is the problem that you're experiencing. This is what it's costing you right now. Well, here's what I can do for you. I can do X, I can do Y, I can do Z. This is what I would do. This is how I would resolve this, and this is how we can minimize the cost and minimize this or maximize that. Like you have to, if you can't really do that, folks, if you don't understand the problem and also quantify the problem as well. And the same thing goes for the return, right? The return on investment. What are they looking to attain? Are they looking for something specific, like in terms of we're looking for X dollar amount of revenue increase, X dollar amount of reduction in I don't know a cost in a certain area. Like I don't know. Who knows, folks, right? Like you're not gonna know these things if you don't inquire and probe and investigate about these things, right? So you got to quantify the return on investment as well. What is the return on investment they expect as a result of hiring you for the position? The better your understanding of this, again, the better able you're going to be to navigate the interview and really talk about the important stuff that's going to help them see you in a positive light, because that's what you want, right? Now, of course, you want to see at your end if this position makes sense for you. Is it a good career decision for you? Does it meet your criteria? Of course, absolutely 100%. That's important as well. But you also want to see how you can position yourself in a positive light, right? So keep this in mind. Now, going into the next step, and let me see if we have more questions here. So Ashwin, I see you have some questions regarding the application. So I'm going to get into that later on after I finish talking about today's topic. All right. So going on to the next part, tip number 3 is when uncertain about a question that you're being asked, right? Ask for clarification. Now, this is a very simple tip, but I see so many job seekers and candidates make this mistake because you don't want to run the risk of coming across as not knowing your stuff or looking stupid or something like that. And the interviewer asks you a question and you don't want to ask for clarification because you're afraid that you're going to look dumb or you're going to come across as not knowing your stuff. Stop thinking like that, folks. All right, stop thinking like that, because interviewers are going to know when you're trying to BS your way into a good response. They're going to pick up on that, and you don't want that to happen, because then they're going to start writing you off, and then they're for sure going to be like, yeah, this person has no idea what they're talking about, and you're insulting their intelligence too, because they think that you think that they're stupid and they're not going to notice that you have no idea what you're talking about, right? So look, if there's a question that the interviewer asks, there's nothing wrong with asking for clarification. Nothing wrong with it, folks. If you don't understand the question, simply say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Interviewer or Mr. and Mrs. Recruiter, not sure I understand that part. Can you please clarify that? And you can also ask them to maybe provide an example if that makes sense, or if that is relevant. You can ask them for an example. Hey, I'm not sure I understand XYZ. Can you please provide me with an example, or can you please provide me more clarification so I can respond to that. Nothing wrong with asking for clarification, folks, right? So if you get asked a question, you're not sure about it, or maybe you missed it, or maybe while they were asking the question, you were thinking about formulating a response and you missed a part of the question, just ask for clarification, right? Just ask for clarification. And hey, look, if it's an interviewer or a company that has problems with you asking for clarification, probably not a company you want to work for, right? I mean, honestly, like if a company has a problem with you asking for clarification, I mean, something's wrong with the interviewer, something psychologically wrong with the interviewer, or something wrong with the company, all right? So ask for clarification. If you do not ask, understand what is being asked. Now, other tip I have for you is never leave. If you respond to a question, if they ask you a question and it's about something you don't have experience with, you don't have any knowledge about, you definitely want to be honest about the fact that you don't have experience with whatever it is they're asking you about, right? Now, that being said, you never want to leave your response at simply, sorry, I don't have any experience with that. You got the honesty part, right? That's good. It's good. You want to be honest about it, but don't just leave your response as that. What you now want to do is you want to show why you're still a good option for the organization to consider, despite not having knowledge or experience in this area that they asked you about. So what you want to do is you want to give examples of maybe something in the past, or something you do have knowledge about that is similar to this thing that they're asking you about, right? So maybe they asked you about XYZ, you don't have experience with XYZ, and you want to tell them that, but you want to see if you can give an example of something similar you have experience with, right? To offset this area that you don't have direct experience with. The other option is give an example in the past where you were in a situation where you had to work with something brand new, entirely new, that you had zero knowledge and experience with, and show them how you were able to still deliver successful results. Because what you want to communicate is that, hey, yeah, maybe I don't have experience or knowledge in this area you're asking me about, but based on my track record in the past, I've still been able to be in those situations and still deliver results, right? So you want to show them that as well. Because so look, you want to be honest. If there's something you don't have experience with, you want to be honest about that, but don't just leave it at that as well, folks, right? You want to show them how you're still a good, strong, viable candidate for the position. And this is a great selling opportunity because you want to communicate to them how you can still thrive in this role by showing examples of similar situations in the past, right? So that's that tip. Now, the other tip is tip number 5, and this is just a general tip for when you're responding to interview questions. Don't just rush into a response, right? A lot of you're listening to the questions, you're getting excited, you're not even completely listening to the question being asked because you're already starting to formulate a response, and you're going right into thinking of, they're asking the question, while they're asking, you're thinking about it, you're thinking about something really slick and clever and intelligent you can say, and then you go into the response. But what you don't realize is you might not have paid complete attention to the question being asked, and you might not have paid complete attention to the multiple components of the question that are being asked, right? Because it could be a multiple component question. So look, I advise 3 steps when you're responding to interview questions. First of all, simply listen, right? Try to quiet your mind. Try to shut off your mind. Don't try and start to formulate a response in your mind while they're asking the question. Simply listen, folks. Listen completely to the question being asked. Give your 100% focus and attention to the interviewer while they're asking you the question until they have finished asking the question. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is understand. Make sure you understand. Do you understand the question? Do you require clarification, right? Going back to the previous point I made. Do you require clarification? Do you need something additional, like an example? Do you need further help in understanding what's being asked? Understand the question. That's step number 2. When you know that, yes, you do have a good understanding of what's being asked, then you finally go into responding to the question, right? So follow these 3 steps when you're at your interviews. Listen completely, 100% focus and attention on the interviewer. Number 2, do you understand the question? If yes, then you go into step 3, which is responding to the question being asked, right? So look, those are just a couple of tips I wanted to share with you folks today for doing well and doing better at your interviews. Make sure you like, comment, and share if you found that today's session was helpful. And if you need clarification about anything, feel free to put it in the comments. I'm going to get to the comments right now for the question, for the any questions you folks have in regards to this. All right. So let's see. We got Ashwin here who says, let's see here. Where's Ashwin's question? So Ashwin says, "Hey Dean, I have a question regarding an application. Usually the easy apply feature works. Sometimes there are companies who just ask you for details, a resume, and that's it. But the most time consuming ones are those asking to submit your resume and enter details again, your education and experience all over again. I wanted to know your thoughts as a recruiter and as an applicant." Yeah, so I mean, in this case, Ashwin, I know it can definitely be time consuming, right? And unfortunately, some applicant tracking systems or some companies, they use this platform where they ask you to enter the details again. I would say, Ashwin, unfortunately, yeah, enter those details again. I know it's redundant, I know it's time consuming, but some of these applicant tracking systems, how they work is when you enter that information and you apply for the job, that is what they actually submit to the recruiter or the job poster, or whoever posted the job, the job posting, right? So that is what they receive in an email. So what they see in their email is, okay, Ashwin, and then they see your copied and pasted experience details and all that stuff on the application. And additionally, it also might add your resume, which you attach to the applicant tracking system on the actual platform itself. So yes, it's redundant, but I would advise you, Ashwin, to definitely do that as well, right? And it also puts it in a more easy to read format for the recruiter or the hiring manager that might be reading over your application. So I would say do that. Now, that being said, they might receive hundreds and hundreds of these applications as well, right? So you want to make sure you're putting time and effort into putting in the details and the relevant details for each of these fields that they want you to fill out. That might be redundant because it's on your resume, but they still want you to enter those again on the application. So I would say, unfortunately, Ashwin, yes, you should put in those details again, because that might be the stuff that the person who receives that notification or the email, that's what they're going to see. And if you don't enter anything, what they're going to see is a blank application with maybe just your name and all that, and your phone number and your contact information, and they might not actually download your resume or look at your resume. So you don't want that to happen. So make sure you do fill out those fields as well. All right. So Danraj says it's a question. Okay, great clarification there. So Danraj says tools to learn for automation beginner. I mean, I don't know. Like you're not putting much effort into asking the question, Danraj. So I don't know what exactly you're asking. Like, are you asking for a QA automation engineer? Are you asking for an automation tools developer? I have no idea what you're asking, right? So if you're not, if you want to put more clarification, feel free to do so. If not, I'm sorry, I can't help you, right? So Ashwin says the reason I ask is if our resume is going to end up through an ATS most of the time, why the extra need to add the details? Okay, so I'm pretty sure I answered this question, Ashwin. So it's exactly what I said before, right? So I hope that helps. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. So looks like that's all for today. Looks like that's all the questions for today, folks. So look, I hope everyone got great value out of today's session. Hope you nail those interviews. Hope you do well. Hope you keep pushing through in your job search, folks. And if you have any other topics you want me to cover in future segments, feel free to let me know. Drop it in the comments if there's a specific topic you want me to cover, or feel free to send me a direct message, and I'm happy to see if there's any way I can assist you in future live stream segments. All right. So remember, every week, Wednesdays, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone, I'm right here, folks, to help you folks out with job search tips, advice, and strategies. And hope today's session was helpful. Ashwin says, thanks, Dean. See you next week. Yeah, see you next week, Ashwin. So make sure, everyone, you mark your calendars and join in next week, Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone for next week's live stream. And also make sure you follow me on all my social channels. I post a lot of job search content throughout the week on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all these channels. All my social links are right here. So feel free to check it out at linktr.ee/DK Tech Recruiter, linktr.ee/DK Tech Recruiter for all my social media links. And I post videos. I post a daily 60-second video on Instagram and TikTok. as well. So feel free to connect with me, folks. Always looking at getting communication with you folks. And I hope today's session helped. All right. Hey, everyone, have a fantastic week, and I'll see you around next time. All right. Take care.